Yeah, that milk.
This girl's claiming the MILF tag now. Like,
Nah, that is crazy.
wait, we used to like give that out, but this girl's claiming it now.
Like,
Like,
said who?
yeah, like we gotta give you that. You can't call yourself. It's like making up your own nickname. You can't make up your own nickname.
It is a wild place, social media, where you see the hashtag MILF.
Yeah,
Mom's outside.
Mom's outside.
Yeah, it's a wild place, man. It's a wild place.
No, this shit is definitely for
Everybody looking for validation. I think that's the biggest thing. Everybody wants to be validated in what they do or accepted in what they do, even if it's
some bullshit.
Exactly.
That's for sure. But before we get too far, I want to say welcome back to the To Be Fair Show. I am your host, Johnny P.
Over here, real.
It's Q.
Special guest today, we got Ron Styles.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What's that? Producer, photographer.
Renaissance man.
Let's go down the list.
Nah, I own a media production company, the Icebox Multimedia. It seems like multimedia was the best term to kind of encompass everything. But yeah, music producer, DJ, videographer, photographer. Trying to expand my team, man. If you're looking for a job, you're looking to work, I'm tired of doing everything by myself. You feel me? Go to theicebox.com/contact. Send me a line. You know what I'm saying? I'm always looking for help, man. But that's pretty much the span of what I do.
Tap in. So father.
Yes, father of two. Oldest son of two. So it's me and my younger brother. A lot of y'all know my younger brother, Xavier.
Yeah. Shout out to Tizzy.
AKA Tizzy, AKA Farragami, AKA. Right. So many names. But nah, yeah. So that's where a lot of cats in Charlotte know me through him and the stuff that he's done with me at my studio, New Era Music House.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice.
Which is where a lot of well, we on a new wave of talent now because there's a lot of new young cats that's rapping in the city now that I'm not familiar with. But so I say maybe about 5-10 years ago, that wave, that generation, I got to know a lot of them through my brother.
But I'm gonna tell you this: one of my most favorite performances is at New Era Music House. That moment, New Era Music Fest, the first one.
Yep.
Bro, that was a jam.
Yeah.
This is the aesthetic of everything and the lighting and everything. That joint was hard, bro.
That was all Tizzy, man. That was all. Well, Farrah got me. He gonna kill me for calling him Tizzy, but that was all my little brother, man. That concept. He came to me and was like, "Yo, bro, like I want to throw a festival, man." And I was like, "Man, talk to me. What's up?" And we chopped it up. He was, presented everything to me. He had everything organized, and we had meetings. And I was like, "Hey, I'm with it," So that all credit for New Era Music Fest that went to him. He just wanted to name it New Era Music Fest because of where it was at. But that was all my little brother, man.
Bro, and shout to all of the big brothers out here that's like just paving the way for like little brothers to, you know what I mean?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Y'all literally be laying the bricks for them to be able to, you know what I mean, to expand the things that they have in their mind to make them come into fruition in a way that's just like that. Yeah, bro, because at the end of the day, you can tell, or in hindsight, looking at it, you can tell that there was a lot of working pieces. There had to be a lot of thought and a lot of, like you said, meetings and coordination and everything. Man, that joint was fire. But
that was all him. That was all him.
Shout to Farragami.
Shout out to Farragami, man. But yeah, I think that was always my thing growing up. Like we were close when we weren't really close because we're 7 years apart, right? So growing up wise, I was already to the next phase of life before he got to the phase that I had just left. You know what I'm saying? Like by the time he got to high school, I was already about to graduate college. You know what I'm saying? Type situation. So, but when he got to, I think, about 16, 17 years old, I don't know, we just started really relating, connecting. You know what I'm saying? And, but like I said, by that time, I was already 22, 23. But we was just starting to connect more. And I just, whatever he wanted to do, you know what I'm saying? Because our parents didn't really understand the stuff I was doing. So I knew they wasn't going to understand the stuff he was doing or wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? So when he had a lot of ideas and stuff he wanted to do, he would bring them to me. And I was like, let's do it, because I know mom, don't worry about mom. I'll get them on board. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just, well, you tell me what you want to do, and then we'll make it happen, and then boom, boom, boom. So
that's fly.
Yeah, that's always what I've always, because I was the only child for 7 years. I didn't have an older brother, so I didn't have that, and I always wanted that. So it's like I just try to do that for him.
That's dope. That's dope. So I got a question. Just listening to you. So you came from two-parent household?
Yep.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah,
That's
my
dope.
dad, born and raised in Charlotte. His family's originally from New York, Harlem. My mom's born and raised in Charlotte. Her family originally from Clover, South Carolina. So
803.
city boy, country girl, you know what I'm saying?
That's dope.
But yeah, my pops, shout out to him, man. He probably the first biggest hustler I ever knew. You know what I'm saying? Like I always just seen that man just hustle and get it and do whatever he need to do for his family. You know what I'm saying? So like a lot of testament. I know I'm grateful. You know what I'm saying? I know that it's rare that a lot of young cats like us don't really have the same two-parent households. So I'm very grateful and appreciative of the work. You know what I'm saying? But I try to take what he did and instill in me because I'm a single dad. Unfortunately my kids aren't raised in a two-parent household.
Yeah.
But I try to take the stuff that I see my dad do and the way he raised me, and I try to put that into my kids. You know what I'm saying? And just kind of lead that way.
Anything specific like that you say like that you're bringing over, you know what I mean, from your childhood and implementing into your way of parenting?
I think the biggest thing is making your own decisions, becoming your own person, not having your life dictated by what your parents want you to do. My parents gave me a lot of autonomy when I was growing up. You know what I'm saying? They gave me, options. You can do this, this, or this. You know what I'm saying? And then I would be able to pick, okay, boom, I want to do.
Not being overbearing.
Not saying you're going to do this, you're going to do that. You're going to sing in the choir. That's what you're going to, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
if I didn't want to do something, they were okay with, well, okay, what you want to do? Like, you're going to do something. But if you don't want to do that, what you want to do? You know what I'm saying? And they would let me try things. I did the T-ball, did karate, did Boy Scouts. I did all that stuff. But some of the stuff, I liked some of the stuff I didn't. You know what I'm saying? But when I finally started latching up, finding things that I like to do, then they would invest in that. And so that's one big thing I try to instill in my kids. Like, all the way down to, like, college. That's probably one thing that I would say my parents forced on me was you're going to either go to college or the military.
Yeah. You know
what I'm saying?
There was a lot of that going on too, yeah.
That was probably the biggest force on me. I chose college. But, going to college, I realized now that I didn't really need college for what I do. But I'm grateful for making that choice because, the experience, the growth, my friends, all that stuff. So I teach my kids, y'all don't have to go to college. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to put that on them. You have to do this. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So I make them look at their options. You know what I'm saying? There's trade school. There's being an entrepreneur. There's going right into the workforce. You know what I'm saying? It's so many other things. What do you want to do? And I think my oldest, after a while, he decided that college was the route for him. You know what I'm saying?
How old is he again?
16.
16. Okay.
Yeah. So he decided that college was something that he wants to do because of what he wants to pursue. Video game design and stuff like that. So he wants to go get that experience. But I wasn't going to push that on him. I was not.
Gotcha. So I guess giving a little bit more of a backdrop to your fatherhood journey. How old was you when you had your first?
My first kid. I was 23.
23.
That was my oldest child. I was 23 years old, fresh out of college, literally just graduated. I walked across stage December 16th, 2006. He was born January 5th, 2007.
Oh, wow.
So less than a few weeks of me walking across
Yeah.
Central at McClendon McDougal.
Yeah.
Walked across that stage, got my diploma, threw everything in the Jeep, came back to Charlotte. And started my life. I ain't even have a job. I didn't have a real job. I was working at Panera Bread.
Oh no, that's the after college.
Yeah, South Tryon Street. I was working at Panera Bread, South Tryon Street. My cousin was the manager at the time. And she had gave me a job. I was like, cuz I got a baby on the way, you know what I'm saying? So I was slanging sandwiches for the first year, you know what I'm saying? To
I dig
get
it.
on my feet.
So how old were you with your second kid?
Second kid, I was late 20s, so about 28, 29.
Okay.
With my daughter.
So in between that gap, or even like just how you've developed as a father in raising them, what are some changes or adjustments or things that you felt like worked during that journey in between like that gap? In between the gap
was a real big maturity step for me. because I conceived the child while I was in my oldest. I conceived him while I was in college. So I was living the fast life. You know what I'm saying? As far as like being reckless and not really caring too much about the future. After I had him, I definitely slowed down a lot. When me and his mom, when we split up, that was the majority of that gap was dealing with life, with adjusting to co-parenting.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because it went from we were together living in the same household with a kid, and we broke up, split up. She moved out with family, and then now we got a kid going, back and forth between two homes. So those next 6 some odd years, almost 6 years, was about just adjusting to that. I didn't want to go the baby mama route. I didn't think it was gonna end up that way when we were together, but that's how it wound up. And I knew that if I was gonna get in another relationship, I did not want to have 2 baby mamas out here. I was not about to do that. That wasn't gonna be my route. So I took time to mature. I didn't even date. I ain't date. I didn't go. I didn't try to get with other women. You know what I'm saying? I really just took time to like mature, grow up, try to get stable with a career. You know what I'm saying? I had transitioned to corporate America. I was working in the financial services industry. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to get stable. But that was working against me too. I actually got laid off twice in 3 years after that breakup. So
Break up with the first.
my first, yeah.
Okay.
So in the midst of this whole personal growth and maturity thing, I'm getting laid off. Because mind you, this is the Great Recession, 2007 era. So 2007, 2008, 2009, it was a lot of turmoil going on,
especially
there,
in the financial sector.
and that was where I was working.
Yeah.
So we got so many companies, financial services closing, merging, all this other stuff. I was working at E-Trade, a place called UVest, another place called LPL. And I'm talking about, I'm not even at places for a year before they shuttering the doors and closing. You know what I'm saying? So it was.
So can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So how did that, and like having to deal with that adversity, kind of like be seen through your parenting? Did that have an impact? Sometimes where we end up projecting some things on our wife, our kids.
I was.
Yeah, I guess talk a little bit to that.
I was in a tough spot, like a real tough spot, and it was reflecting in my parenting. Mind you, at this the same time when I'm co-parenting with my ex, so I don't have the second kid, but it's just me, my ex, and then my child, my oldest. So we're going in the midst of all that, court dates, lapse registration on your car, car notes. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just stuff after stuff after stuff after stuff after stuff.
Yeah,
and you just kind of seeming like nothing is going to even out. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, and then as soon as you get everything situated, get everything paid up, your check engine light come on or something. You know what I'm saying? And so you feel me? Like it was a lot of that, bro. A lot.
Yeah.
And like it made me mature and it made me grow. But that's when I started getting that entrepreneurship itch, because I'm like, yo, bro, this can't be the wave. This can't be it. You know what I'm saying? Working this job, getting up 9 to 5, clocking in, and my life still in shambles. I'm still not happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And I always knew that music, that was always my thing. But it's like I had got so far from that because life had taken me. I had got so far from that, bro. And then to your point about parenting, it did. Because I wasn't me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing the things that makes me happy.
So did you feel like that pushed you to be like a little more aggressive, a little bit more, I don't know, maybe demanding, demeaning, anything like that? And that could be between your kids, your ex, XYZ. I don't know, like your
I developed a lot. I developed a lot of anxiety, and depression, because my I don't even like the term, but my baby mama, my son's mother, she didn't really take our split well. There's a lot of vindictive stuff going on that I also had to manage. Then by the time I started dating my daughter's mom, who would go on to become my wife, that's when stuff really ramped up. Like when my son's mother found out that I was that had moved on. And mind you, this is years later. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it was months after we broke up.
I got a question. This is a theory to that. So your son's mother, when she felt that way, had she already kind of like moved on and had like somebody?
She had a
else?
whole nother kid, bro.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
And she was with the guy and all
I don't know if she was with the guy at the time, but I remember specifically, I was still single. This before I met the girl that was going to become my wife. I was putting my bike up into the shed in the back of my house. I have a garage. I used to have a Jeep bicycle, like it's by a Jeep. You know what I'm saying? It's an off-road bike. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I love that bike, man. And I was putting it up, and I got my phone was ringing. So I boom, boom. I was like, she calling me for? Hello? I just want to let you know before you hear from anybody else, I'm pregnant. I am gonna keep it. Like that was crazy. Like that's a crazy like statement. Like people gotta validate that. Like I am gonna keep it. And
her body, her choice.
yeah, I was like, and then me, I'm trying. I'm keeping on the phone. I'm like, word. Okay, that's what's up. All right, yeah, bet. But as soon as I hung up the phone, I'm like, yes, yes, I can move on my life. I ain't got to worry about no, none of that. Because I did not want to get involved with anybody else because I was skeptical of how this baby, you know what I'm saying? I've heard too many horror stories about that. So when she called me and said that she was pregnant with this other dude kid, I'm thinking I'm free and clear. I'm like, congratulations. Move on with your life.
You feel it was the one for her.
In a sense, I feel like I was. She's made statements over the years, even in the midst of like arguments, like that let me know that she still feel a particular type of way.
Yeah.
But because it's so much resentment, because it's so much BS that has gone on, you can't go back on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and she know I'm not gonna go back on that.
What's the lines?
Exactly. I don't care. I know how you might really feel, but you done stepped across that line, and it ain't no going back.
I got you. So I guess moving it forward a little bit. So now I guess it takes you to your daughter.
Yes.
I don't know, I guess like explain to us like that scenario, that situation a little bit. Unpack it for us.
My daughter's mom, my ex-wife, I'd known her for a while. She had been family friend. Well, her mom had been family friends of my mom, church members, all that stuff. My mom did her mom's hair. I had known her for a while. I got a job at after that second layoff. I had got a job at Time Warner Cable, which became Spectrum, but at the time it was still Time Warner. I was on my lunch break at McAllister's Deli, and I seen her mom. I seen her mom first. I said, hey, Mama Roz, what's going on? That's how Mama Roz. That's how close we were. That's like Mama Roz. That's what I used to call her. She's like, hey, son, whoa. You know my daughter, right? And I'm like, no. And I'm looking, I'm like, oh.
Mom put you on. That's
yeah. Mom said put me on, but I'm like,
nah, moms be out here definitely hooping.
right?
Nah, moms be
and daughter was home from school. Went to Salem State. She was home, and I'm like, what's going on? How you doing? Yeah. You done growed up, you know what I'm saying? And then the conversation, just spun off, and we hit it off, and it was like, I thought it was some fairy tale type stuff, but she was young. I was older at the time. I think 27, 28 when we had met. She was 22. And she was in Winston State. I was transitioned to another part in life. Yeah. But I thought I had met my little baby, you know what I'm saying? And she was with it, like she was so like just in tune with everything that I was, was doing and progressing. She loved my kid, my oldest. He loved her. Like the relationship. I was like, yo, this gonna be perfect. But then, after we got married and as she grew older and just time progressed, I guess as she started maturing, we just started realizing that, we are two different people. She hadn't reached that, I guess, self-identity phase yet. Meanwhile, I was square in it. Like, I know who I am. I know what I want. You know what I'm saying? But one of the biggest things she said that I'll never forget was, she was like, I was a wife and a mother before I even knew who I was.
Big.
And yeah,
it's big.
And I felt that,
You got, and that's something to respect.
Yeah, I had to respect that, and I understood because I'd been there. Because I was a dad before I knew what I was in life. So I knew that. And I wasn't going to keep her trapped in that type of situation, especially when you're trying to figure out who you are. And as much as it hurt, I had to let it go. You know what I'm saying? And, she's moved on in life. Obviously, I've moved on in life. And, we're way more amicable in this amicable situation we are than my son's mother is. But it's just a fact of life. People. I always felt like people were in your life for a reason and for a season. And she was, or our situation was literally just, it was a season. It was. I was supposed to bring her to some point of reflection in her life. And then once we got to that road, that was for her to make her choice. She made her choice, and then boom, like that was it for us. You know what I'm saying? Because
you don't really hear too many like of those amicable split divorce stories like that. Where, you know what I mean? Both people actually are at a certain level of consciousness where you can really understand that. I get what you're saying.
If I was younger, it probably would have been worse. But because I was older and I had already been through like that whole self-discovery phase, I knew exactly what she was going through. I knew exactly what she was saying.
Yeah.
So I got a question for you. So this may be a little sidebar, but you know that the conversation about men wanting to date younger women or preferred younger women over the older women, that there's a big back and forth and a disconnect.
Right.
So having gone and lived that, what is your opinion of it?
I think it can work. I think the in the 20s it might not work, but I think like maybe like in the 30s,
especially lower 20s.
Yeah, lower 20s. I don't think it can work, but I think like up the higher 20s, over 25, I think it can work.
And what age? Man being at what age?
I mean, I think it can work. I've seen some people think it's gross and nasty, but I've seen some 40s. And like high 20s, like she 28, he 40, so I've seen it. But she's mad. She's mad mature, you know what I'm saying? And they just click, it just work. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He kind of leads a younger lifestyle already. He might be active, traveling, not one of them sedentary older dudes that work out. You know what I'm saying? He kind of got that type of lifestyle. I've seen it. You know what I'm saying? But if she was 22. And I don't think it would work.
Dub.
You know what I'm saying? I think it would be a dub. But she 28, 25, 26, 28, somewhere up in there. And he 35, maybe 40 at the high. I've seen it. I've seen it work. People don't like it. People going to question it. But I've seen it. And they're still strong to this day. My mom and my dad. My mama was 17. My daddy was 23 when they met. Not a big difference, but when you look at like stages in life,
for sure,
they worked together at Winn-Dixie, the grocery store. You know what I'm saying? She worked in the bakery, he worked in the produce. And she wasn't trying to give him no play, you know what I'm saying? We just kept, it was something to take on a date. And they went out for one date, she let him, all right, one date. And then they've been together ever since then.
No, that's dope.
You feel me? And like my daddy is like, he thinks everything about my mama, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And she know that anything she need in life, she can get it from my daddy. But if he wasn't trustworthy in that result, I don't think my mama would have stayed with him that long. You know what I'm saying? Like he made it comfortable for
One
her.
more quick question before they take it a little further. So growing up, was your parents' relationship more in the traditional scope, where your father like the breadwinner and mom Deuce was the caretaker of the house and things like that, or was there a mixture, or were there time frames where they swapped places?
It definitely was time places where they swapped. My daddy was a laborer, kind of always been hard labor, manual labor, trucks, you know what I'm saying, cars, freight, you know what I'm saying, produce, excuse me. He always been that type of dude. Third shift, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He always been that type of dude. My mama, corporate, you know what I'm saying, office job, 9 to 5, salary, 401k, you know what I'm saying? Like, so there was a point in time when my mama was carrying the family, and I know that for a fact, just because I know how stuff pay. Like I know that. But then,
did that impact their roles in the household, or was it still like it was a base level of respect for
It's always been a base level of respect, and I think that comes from true love. Like my parents, my dad truly loved my mom. So, and my mom truly loved my dad. So, although there were the ebbs and flows of life, that love, like that kept them together. So then translated to now, my mom's a nurse now. She always wanted to be a nurse, but she blamed me and my brother, you know what I'm saying, for her not being able to pursue her nursing career. But becoming a nurse required going to school. And so my dad told me, like, don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? It's been a point in time when you held the family down, you know what I'm saying? So for like a 2-year period, you know what I'm saying, my daddy took care of everything so my mom could go back to school. And then now they live right up the street back up in Harrisburg. They live back up in here. He bought her house. A brand new house. They built it from the ground up. You know what I'm saying? And a Mercedes truck. You know what I'm saying? Like, and now my mama a nurse, and she make probably 3-4 times than him working at the truck company. You know what I'm saying? Being the nurse, we're doing the role she do at the nurse. But she wouldn't have been able to do that if it weren't for my pop sacrifice. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's how they work.
That's dope.
I like how you said that he bought her a house. Like,
He did. That's my mama house. I tell him that. Yo, he bought it. His name on all the paperwork, but that's my mama house. You know what I'm saying?
It's always your mama house.
Yeah, that's my mama house. So, you know, he's my role model as far as like what a provider is supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? He don't complain. He put his head down and went to work. You feel me? Like, I've seen him work 2-3 jobs, and that type of work ethic
rubbed off on you.
It rubbed off on me. It can be a bit of an imbalance. You know what I'm saying? One big thing I told him, I said, you know, I got in trouble in my marriage by trying to emulate my dad, right? Without exactly knowing all that my dad did. I was just trying to emulate it.
Great perspective.
You feel me? Yeah. And I told him that too. I said, I think one of my biggest problems is I've been trying to emulate you, but not being my own person. What works for you and my mama, it was not working in my marriage. It was not working.
You know, something crazy that's dope that you said that, because like a lot of the times, I'll bring up a lot of times, like we freestyling, like if you ain't seen it, then you have no idea. You pulling it up out the air. But then you saying like, I saw it and I was trying to implement these things that I saw work, and it still didn't pan out to be, you know what I mean? Now that's
when they say things,
right
when they say things like "be your own man," like those words kind of ring hollow when you're younger, because you just don't quite understand it. Right. You know, like what you mean? I am a man. Like I'm Ron. I'm my own man. Like it sounds simple, but it ain't till I don't know. I can't tell you what year it was. It just clicked, bro. I was like, oh shit. Yeah, I've been doing this wrong my whole life. You feel me? And then once I started being my own man, that's when I found happiness. That's when I found inner peace. That's when a lot of the turmoil that kind of seemed to follow me from relationship to relationship, all that stuff just kind of ceased, because I finally figured out how to be my own man. You know what I'm saying? What works for me. And the relationship I'm in now, you know, the young lady I'm with now, like, she understands that. It's not like a win or a lose type situation, or you got to get it or nothing. Like, it's just, she naturally just knows, like, this who I am. You know what I'm saying? He need his space. That don't mean he don't love me because he not calling me or nothing like that. You feel me? He just need his space. Right. And so it works, you know? And so that's one big thing that I know that I failed at, but I learned from. Just because you grow up in a 2-parent household, it does not mean you automatically going to get it right.
Right. And I think that's big. So I want to push the conversation forward a little bit. Yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong. So just kind of understanding, you said ex-wife, so that means that there was a divorce that happened.
Yes.
What was the impacts on your kids going through that situation?
I tried to hide it from them.
Okay.
I ain't even gonna lie. I tried to hide it from them. I was so heartbroken and so torn up about it. I didn't want to have any type of adverse emotional reaction in front of them. That I just tried to pretend like none of that was happening.
How old were they?
Good question. My daughter was 2.
Okay.
So it was 8 years ago. My oldest was about 8. So 7, 8, and 2. So it got to the point that it was like, I ain't gonna say a real name, but they was like, "Where's Anita?" Oh, she she had to go to her mama house. You know what I'm saying? Like I was lying, bro. Like I was. You feel me? Like because I just didn't want to. Part of me didn't want to face the reality.
Yeah.
That this marriage that I had invested so much time in was crumbling or had crumbled. But how do I break this to my kids? Because I know that this is about to be a monumental shift for them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, how do I do that?
Tough.
And I was scared. I was scared to have them conversations, man. I was. And it wasn't until we had to move, and she didn't come with us. And then that's when it really was like, hold on. My kids was like, oh,
Yeah.
well, what's up? You know what I'm saying? And I was like, all right, so me and Anita, we not together no more. And then, but part of me, I was like, how do I even explain this to you? You 8, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do I even explain this to you? You know what I'm saying?
Depth to that.
I literally just sitting here thinking the same thing. About like, I think that sometimes and one of my dogs, one of my good friends, he comes in. He was going through a scenario where things were changing in his life, and his son's like 3 or 4, and he was telling me like he just told him like this is what's happening, and then he don't know how much of it he actually understood,
Right.
But he actually did it, and so like I find myself in the same place like where you like, but do I even need to say this, or are you going to even know what I'm saying, or
Right.
I think that like it comes to a point where like even when he said that he responded like he understood.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised how much kids do know and how much they do process and do understand. And I vowed to never shortchange them on critical information again, like from that point. Because it wasn't until I did start having those conversations that, oh, y'all do get it. Oh, y'all do understand. Oh, y'all not upset at daddy. Oh, y'all not. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just stuff like that. And I guess it was just that constant fear of like letting them down. I never wanted to disappoint my kids, but life is life. Like, disappointment is going to happen. You can't run from it. You can't sugarcoat it. You know what I'm saying? You got to just, you got to face it head on. And how can I be an example and tell them to face their problems head on if I don't?
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
How much more mindful does that make you in dating now? Like as far as like, since you already been married and now you gotta look at it, like think about
This nigga Tone trying to steal my questions, bro.
Hey,
I was about to lead up to that.
oh yeah. I'm just sitting there thinking,
So I got as I was just to expand it just a little bit.
Yeah.
I just want to kind of get your understanding. Dating in 2023 in general is a tough thing, according to Johnny. Tone, that's what they told me. But dating as a father in 2023, what does that look like?
Well, luckily I don't have to do that. Like I said, I am currently in a relationship now. But but meeting her and being a single dad, I did have my apprehensions about it. I'm not gonna lie, and she sensed them. As she got to know me, that was one of her biggest questions. Like, okay, you was married, you've been divorced. Like, do you ever see yourself getting married again? And it's like we was early in the relationship, so it's like, damn, how do I answer this
That's
question?
the good. Yeah, I was actually asking
That's a
myself
trick
that question in the
It's a
shower
trick
this morning.
So, I kept it honest with her. I said, I do, and it would be something that I would explore again, but how quickly I get back to that point, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I can't answer that question right now because my focus has shifted to me making myself happy. Because I had spent so many years trying to make other people happy, whether it's my kids, my ex-wife, my son's mother. I've been so many years trying to make other people happy, and I was losing. I said, you know what? I'm doing me, and I'm doing what makes me happy. If I meet somebody else, this train moving forward, you better grab on to one of them handles and hold on, because I'm not stopping.
Yeah.
And I don't know if she took it as a challenge or what. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
That's
But
dope.
she stuck around. And it ain't like I was purposefully like trying to put her through no ringer. I wasn't like purposely doing nothing like that. Like this is my life. This is what I do. I am running this media company. I have this studio. We're having these events. I got these shoots. Like this is what I do.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So,
And I'm not running from that. I'm not, cause you know, sometimes we'll try to downplay. We meet somebody new, we'll try to like minimize.
Ourselves.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We might be in the streets heavy as hell. And I'm like, what you do for like, you know, I be chilling. You know what I'm saying?
right.
But knowing that you finna go make a play right now when you leave, you feel me?
Yeah.
But we minimize that. But I put everything on the table. You know what I'm saying?
Ron,
Yeah.
this will kind of like throw closer to where Tone was at, or A Dot. So with that, it sounds like you was a father. You was also an entrepreneur.
Yes.
What was your vetting process like when it came to actually looking for that woman that you seen to, you know what I mean, that you was looking for to kind of fit that role? What was some of those things that you was Xing out, and some of them things that you was looking for to actually be a quality that's like, all right, that's something that I could probably build with. Maybe it's not marriage, maybe it's not this, but you can get a little bit of this time, even though I got a bunch of time that's already allotted.
She wasn't looking for me to make her happy. She wasn't looking for me. She already had her own happiness. She knew who she was. She knew what she wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? She didn't need me or rely on me to supply her with dopamine. You know what I'm saying?
That's a big
I have a
one.
question, but oh, my bad. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you finish. 'Cause my question might take you somewhere else.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, I really want to, because so you said that you could tell that she was already happy. Like you could see that she was happy. What did that look like?
She was just confident. She just, you know, like we met. We got booked to shoot the same event. She's a photographer as well. I got booked to do videography, and so of course when you're there, and it's any videographer, it could be another dude. Like that's a videographer. If two videographers, photographers in the same spot. We finna talk. What you shooting with? What you got? You know what I'm saying? Like, and so you know, but you know, Shorty was looking, you know, she was looking good with them white pants on. So you know, I'm trying to be a little more smooth with it.
Yeah.
But she was giving me play, but it was like I could tell she didn't need me. Like she wasn't checking for me.
She wasn't
like
impressed.
she was talking to me, but she wasn't checking for me. You know what I'm saying? And then the questions that I was asking her photography wise, like she knew her shit. She knew what she was talking about.
Yeah, what f-stop you think I should?
Yeah, you feel me? Like, look, you know, little stuff like that. We try to, you know, shoot the shit. Yeah.
Shutter speed you shoot.
Yeah. And then, you know, and then she knows. She's like, 1/125. I'm like, oh, okay. Excuse me. Feel me? So, you know, and then when I was like, yo, I said, you know, I do other gigs too. You know what I'm saying? They be looking for photographers, you know, just give me a number. And you know, if I ever need another photographer, boom. And I gave her my phone, and when I got it back, well, I had her phone, her personal cell, her work cell, personal email, work email. She put her first and last name in the contact. I say, oh, okay, all right, I know what this is. Yeah, so the next day or so, I just hit up on the random. Hey, what you doing? The response was, was right, and it hit off, and then it's just been, me and her rocking ever since. And so it was definitely the confidence factor, definitely not needing to be made happy. Mm-hmm. And I don't, it's just something about a go-getter woman. It's just something about it. Nothing against the housewives and the women that want to be kept. There's nothing against that. Yeah. But for me, it's something about a woman that's
what works,
and
with your
especially in that entrepreneurial space,
right?
That creative space. I could see that, like, you know what I mean, having something, and then that commonality,
right?
Yep. Having that commonality in the creative space, and also with the camera being that tool that you both are, digging into. So I could see that that's hard.
And I've dated women, 6-figure women, You know.
So what's some things that made you hit the tap out button on those women that you said dated? So
Yeah.
it was a tap out button that you had to hit.
I mean, as far when you like 6-figure women, independent, powerful women.
I'm interested in it.
They
We about to have
can't.
a conversation.
They nothing you do is ever gonna be good enough because they can do all that stuff themselves plus more. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like you have to completely and constantly blow the mind of an independent woman. You know what I'm saying? To have her feel like she has a reason to keep you around. And I don't like feeling like I'm a pet or like I gotta show and prove.
I think that's a good one. So what I was gonna say is that for me, what I tend to look at, like especially like the high earning women, the ones that can do without your dollar.
Right.
What I've found inside like my journey was that it was about bringing value outside of dollars.
Right.
So to me, when like I was catching the eye of like these said women, this is like an artist phase, and they really fucked with like the music, the journey of that X, Y, and Z, and for them, that value was placed way above like what I could do, what I earned. So I still got that exact same respect as a guy that made more than them X, Y, and Z.
Right.
But it was because of I was presenting something of value in which they cared about. These was like, I don't know. There's a lot of like the Howard graduate woman that love the arts but make a bag, and so then like they're trying to find the Basquiat.
And I feel like for those type of women, I feel like the creative to them is a fetish. That's what I feel like.
And that's when you said pet.
Yeah.
I think that's the interesting kind of
It's
way
a thrill. It's like a
that's an
thrill to
interesting way to
them,
put
but
it.
they're never really gonna commit to it or settle down to it. It's a thrill. And for a while, after a while, that's how
it's like the chick with the fat ass for a dude.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the creative, free spirited, popular, creative guy for the because a lot of those
you artists, you can pop.
Yeah, a lot of those independent, powerful women with that get the bag. A lot of them are rigid. Like
rigid
because their job kind of requires them to be. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to like life, they don't really get a lot of it.
But they like that free spirit. It's that opposite.
And exactly. So as a creative, we kind of bring that out of them, like tap into that wild side. But because they value their position at their job more, it's like they're never gonna like commit to that, I guess, wild child lifestyle. It's just like scratching the itch for them.
Well, to me, that stability matter more to them.
Right. Once that itch is scratched, she can be done with you.
I don't know. I guess my only pushback to that would be the majority, like the successful career women, typically have like I'll use like there's some principles that I know in which their guy, when they bring that guy, he be the dreadhead, whatever guy, like he obviously look like he listened to Bob Marley. I'll put it like that. And I don't know. I seen definitely get the fetish part, but I also think of like the yin and yang piece, where I do think that when they find the right balance of that, that's probably the one that actually really works.
Right.
Unless they do find that guy that really makes a lot more than them.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think we're all searching for balance.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, balance is key to life. That's one of my biggest principles. Balance is key. And once you find somebody that does balance you out, you gotta lock in. Like you got to. You know what I'm saying? Because it's very rare that you find that person that balances you out. But for a lot of independent women that kind of control their own destiny and have been controlling their whole destiny for a while, I think one of the things that they fall victim to is they always feel like they can get better. You know what I'm saying? Even in their relationship. So even if they met this dude and we been locked in for a year, I can do better. I can get something better.
I think that's the double-edged sword of that ambitious woman.
Exactly.
You know, it's like,
because once you
I got a point.
because sometimes it's not like we know the grass ain't always green on the other
it's
side.
like Prince say, she's never satisfied, and when doves cry.
Oh yeah,
It's like when you got that ambition, and I think the same goes for guys.
Definitely. I think so.
You know, it's people in general, but at some point you gotta find content. You know, you gotta find peace, and it ain't always about like being better.
Right.
You know, because something might be better on paper,
Exactly.
but not necessarily be better for you.
Ask Kevin Durant that.
Hey, I ain't mean to cut you off. I felt like you was about to make a point.
Oh yeah, no, I was gonna say that like with the conversation made me think about like as men, like you know how if you look at like even the famous men, generally if they start dating a woman when they're younger and then they actually get to to a different place, they end up bailing and getting something.
Oh yeah.
Doing the upgrade,
You're
quote
right,
unquote
you're right,
upgrade.
you're right, you're right.
So
That's
like
a
I
fact.
think you know what I mean. We do it on our end of the spectrum as well.
D Wade is an example of
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
You know,
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart.
it's a
is
lot
an
of
example
them.
that.
Steve Harvey,
Yeah, Steve
fucking-
Harvey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a lot of them.
And I don't know what
That's tough.
dictates that. I don't know. I can't really put a finger on. Like, is there a universal
I think it's human nature.
commonality? You know, that kind of threads all of those situations together. It could be human nature, but I don't know. Because then I look at situations like my parents, and they didn't switch up on each other. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's the times.
So it could be the time. Yeah, it could.
Social media and
And,
everything.
and
That's a part of it too. Social media.
Because our parents.
I
weren't
think
on
that's
the
a
grind.
cop out.
I
ain't
think
gonna
it's,
hold you.
honestly, I think at this day and age, it's harder for us to see value in each other.
True.
It's harder for
When you
us
got
to
so many options.
consistently, and like over time, like through longevity, and you know what I mean. And the force too, it's a selfish culture.
Yes.
So in order for me to see value in you, that means that you have a level of selflessness that I appreciate above and beyond. You see what I'm saying? And I'm doing the same for you. So that mutual selflessness and appreciation for each other is like to find it. I think it's getting harder and harder to actually.
So I got a question. So
obtain.
to respond and then ask a question a little bit. I would like to know the statistics when it comes down to divorces inside common times and how much more prevalent that they are. Because I think sometimes it's like what the internet does in general. Like right now, we tend to think that the world is worse than it's always ever been. When right now it's kind of better, we just see the shit way more. So going to like the horseshoe theory, where we see the opposite ends and the polar opposites and the loud minority online all the time, but in reality, it kind of doesn't seem statistically like there's a big difference in the divorce rate. Maybe it's went up by like a point or two, but in general, across the board, like if we go like 90s, 2000s, 2010s, 2020s, it's not that crazy of a change.
Yeah, we still got to wait to see what our data really gonna look like too. Our data ain't really. It's gonna take like another decade or so for us to really get what our data says as far as the hour for our generation.
Well,
divorce
2010 to
rates.
2020 is there. Like divorce,
Yeah, but I mean,
in general,
2010
like
we was-
a marriage
what I'm
lasts
saying,
about
but-
7-8 years.
What I'm
Right?
saying, but I'm saying when we get to an age to where the most of the people that are going to be married have already been married, so we're still in an age where we have a little bit of, you know what I mean. That marriage,
Okay.
that first marriage is still possible. Once we got another 5 to 10 years to where it's like, okay, we getting on the other side of this thing. So then we'll be able to see what that data actually says about our generation.
I see
But
what
I'm
you're
not
saying.
disagreeing with what you're saying though.
No, I got you. I guess what I would also lend to that same thing is, of course, like in future terms, we'll kind of see, but what we would see right now would be an uptick. In which I haven't heard of a specific uptick at all.
In what?
If any,
I think it's the
in divorces.
optics. I think it's the optics.
Yes, I agree with that part.
And because social media, to the point,
you see
we just
everybody.
You
see
see
it
it a
so
lot.
much.
Yeah, we just see it.
And I
A
know what
bunch.
you said about it being the cop out. I think it's just visually in front of us.
Yep.
Because you can, and I just tell my kids this all the time too. When you're taking in information on the internet, or stuff is being presented to you on the internet, you can find topics to support, or you can find articles, websites, whatever, to support any
And the
stance
algorithm
you
will
want
play
to
with your
take.
mind.
Facts.
Anything.
The facts.
Anything you
You
want
can
to take.
get on the gram and be like 2 + 2 = 5.
And then you're gonna find a million posts
Yeah.
where people gonna confirm that and say that that's really what it. That's
Or
what.
better yet, you just stayed on that video for more than 10 seconds. It's gonna feed it to you.
Oh, yeah.
You ain't even got to hit the like.
You ain't even got to agree with
Hey,
it.
they'll be
Yep.
reteaching you how to carry the one. You be like,
Yeah.
come on, I ain't been carrying the one.
Hey, Ron, before we tap out on the conversation, Johnny about to put a pin in it. I think that this is a good thing to ask fathers that have kids, different genders. Difference between parenting the boy, the girl. Your son, your daughter.
The differences.
If there is any, you might keep
I
it
don't
safe.
really think it's that, because I try to stay consistent. Like my daughter, I don't try to coddle her.
Okay.
As like, to handle her with kids gloves. But my daughter, I ain't gonna say rough, because that's too hard of a term to put on her. But my daughter, she a tough cookie. Like, she take MMA classes and be beating up the boys.
Oh Lord.
Oh yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like, she be handling them.
Up and
You know what I'm saying? But she's a girl. Like, she also, excuse me, will sit up there and sing goddamn Three Doors Down with her friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, she kind of on both sides. Sit there and draw Hello Kitty. You know what I'm saying? But then put you in a headlock at the same time. So, you know what I'm saying? So, it's like I don't handle my daughter with kids gloves.
Okay.
And then the same thing with my oldest, my son. I don't like leave it all up to him to process. Like, you be a man, suck it up. Like, I don't do that either.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying?
It's good
What's on
balance parenting.
Yeah, what's on your mind? You feel me? Yeah, I done cried with my son. I've done that. I'm not ashamed to say that. You know what I'm saying? We've done that. You know, the stuff that he's been through and the stuff that I mean, when we coming out of the pandemic and so about almost 2 years ago, he was at a point where he wanted to kill himself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I can't go and like suck it up, be a man about something like that. I can't, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure.
We gotta talk. What's up? What's on your mind? You know what I'm saying? And then that being like that, and he even told me now a couple years later that if it wasn't for conversations like that, he doesn't know where he would have been. So if I would have been that rigid, traditional,
play into them stereotypes.
you feel me? He would have offed himself. You know what I'm saying? So I will always champion being balanced. You know what I'm saying? And being flexible, because you never know what you're gonna have to adjust to as your kid. You trying to rule with an iron fist, like, it's gonna blow up in your face. At some point in time, it's gonna blow up in your face. Sometimes you got to put the iron fist on.
Sometimes they need a blanket.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they need a blanket. And they know when I have to put my foot down and I have to put that daddy voice on, you should see how quickly they straighten up. Because I don't do it all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't do it. But as soon as when it's that time and I oh daddy ain't playing. You know what I'm saying? They already know.
Turn up.
And I didn't want my kids to fear me.
Yeah.
I didn't want, I wanted my kids to understand me and respect me. And when I say understand that I respect them as well. You know what I'm saying? But if y'all ain't doing what I'm asking you to do, then y'all gonna get this.
Yeah. Now, I think that Rail said, maybe it was 2 episodes ago, like, choosing the times when it's time to raise your voice as a man makes a really, really, really
It's
big
very
difference.
impactful. Very
impactful. For sure.
I'm telling you, it don't matter what time of day, whatever. When I hit that daddy voice, all you hear is feet shuffling. That's all you hear. You know what I'm saying? That's all you should be hearing. You feel me?
A little bit of straightening.
But they know, okay, they know that that's not how daddy always is.
Yeah.
They know that.
So they know when if they get you like that,
exactly.
What
Exactly. And that's the point. You know what I'm saying?
messed up.
And then even still after that, I might be hot, mad at them, whatever. I'm in my room after they done, cooler heads don't prevail. You'll hear that knock on the. I'll like, yes. They come in there and they want to give me a hug. You know what I'm saying? And that's, that they ain't even got to say a word. They just come in and give me a hug, and then they go about their business. You know what I'm saying? And then I don't treat them no differently. I treat them the exact same. I treat them how I wanted to be treated as a kid, how I was treated as a kid. I treat them that exact same way. And I ain't gonna front. It's been some times where they done said some stuff where, that made me like, I didn't have the answer to it. You know what I'm saying? Because some kids' minds, they go places, or even when they challenge me, they say stuff like, cause especially like my kid when he was going through the suicide and all that stuff. we got to a point in time where I let him say whatever you want to say, as long as they didn't cross that line of being like disrespectful and like raising your voice to cut. I even let him cuss to a certain degree because get it out, like what you got to say.
That's good.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about we sitting in the room, he might be yelling like, cause I feel like this, and I'm sitting there like trying my damnness to hold this in, but I'm gonna let you get it out because I know that something is bothering you.
It's actually really good parenting.
And then once we get it out, you hear what I'm saying, we come to an agreement, and we hug it out. Let's go get something to eat.
That's dope. That's dope.
You know what I mean?
Think we didn't touched on it. This was a dope conversation. I definitely picked up a couple of things on it, but I think that'll be a good place for us to put a pin in it.
All right, so Johnny, what's the next topic?
All right, so we'll go to meme of the week.
An active mother and an active father got two different definitions. Active mother, trenches, day in, day out, 24/7. Active mother, PTA meetings, soccer practice, football practice, reading, teaching, homework. Active mother, cook, clean, rear. Active mother. Active father, he come over on weekends. Active father, he buy a gift or two. Active father, he FaceTimes every once in a while. Different definitions, different standards. Just because you an active father don't mean you pulling your motherfucking weight. You active enough to take pictures, but are you 24/7? Do you know his teacher's name? Do you know what his grade point average is? You know what size shoe your kid wear? You know what prescription his glasses is? When is his next doctor appointment? Quit calling yourself a motherfucking active parent, active father just because you post motherfucking pictures on social media once or twice a month. Just because you're not in the household don't mean your influence isn't felt on a daily basis inside the household.
So, fellas, what say y'all? I know I have an opinion, but I like to hear y'all.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out
What prompted that?
Oh yeah,
But that's kind of like his bag.
That's his thing.
I'm saying, where is he trying to go with that? Like, is he saying? Because I'm trying to figure out, because it sounds kind of hurt, like personal. Like he's talking to somebody specific. It don't sound like he's addressing.
I think he's a panda bear.
And that's exactly
like
what
he
just sounds. I'm thinking
panders
Derek.
to the opposite sex, and like so you put a whole lot of sauce on it. I think, like if I'll start off the conversation. I think I don't like it at all, primarily because of his point of comparison is wild. So what he's talking about is a single mom and then a sometime dad, and he's calling a sometime dad an active dad.
Facts.
And then he's calling the single mom the active mom.
Right.
Where I just don't think that it's a really fair comparison point at all.
It's definitely not.
Yeah, it's just saying.
In which, like most of the active fathers that I know, and again, like I can stand on a ledge of being an active father.
Facts.
In which that what he described is not close to what that looks like.
Facts.
Mm-hmm. So like I co-parent, but my son is with me 4 to 5 days out the week. Any activity that he goes to, I literally see him 6 out of 7 days because either I'm picking him up or I'm dropping him off at school, X, Y, and Z. All his events, all of anything, I'm taking him to. I'm doing all of everything. That's what an active father looks like.
Right.
And to me, when I look at, you know what I mean, people inside my circle, when we talk about the active fathers, not the fathers that's just kind of, you know what I mean, doing whether it's whatever the circumstance allows us, or, you know what I mean, there's some fathers that just ain't doing shit.
Right.
Like we don't, like there's a specific thing for like an active father. And what he named, like you just FaceTime your kids sometimes.
That's not an active father.
Like you're calling like the negative things the active father. In which like it's obviously meant to pander and to kind of like give women the pat on the back. But what this sound like to me is when like it's a guy telling a woman Happy Father's Day. That's what it seems like to me. Like you're trying to give the woman the pat on the back just off of the string.
And then my thing about it is that, do you know, even let's not even use the word active. It almost, when I listened to it the first time, it was like, oh, he trying to create a new buzzword. So like the idea of the active mother, bruh, a lot of these moms is not doing that shit.
All.
And the kids live
and everything
there.
that he named.
So like, so you went from one extreme all the way to the other extreme. And then, like, you feel like you have a value, and you're so emotional about it. Like, you're
like I said this.
You're speaking facts.
But that's the price. That's the price of virality, right? That's the price of going viral.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You have to take. You have to compare
the
further extremes, and then you have to attempt to drive that point home emotionally.
To your
it's almost
core
like
demographic.
preachers, right? It's a movie. I can't remember the name of the movie.
Fire Lawyer.
That part too. It's a movie where it's a white dude actually. He's a preacher and he's raising his son up to be a preacher as well. And he's teaching him how to preach to rile people's emotions up so that they can give the money. You know what I'm saying? The offering. Yeah. You know, he like it's a system. And like it's a rhythm to how they say it and all that stuff. And I was like, yo, that's wild. And I think a lot of people do that on social media. These new age podcasters, this dude that we just showed, there's a girl, a woman that does kind of the same thing. And she's speaking from the woman's perspective, but she's very just negative and emotional towards men. And women like that. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And they, yes, girl, yes.
You know the funny thing is that, like, you know, probably as many women that share that would share this post, they still ain't doing the shit that he put in there. But they'll never even, and I'm not trying to come down, I'm just saying that, like, they'll never think about the fact that, I don't know all of the teachers' names. I ain't been to a PTA meeting. Yeah. I ain't, you know what I mean?
My kid on the iPad, he ain't at the fucking practice.
Right. Ain't practicing the damn thing. He been on a game.
But like Quint said, that's the pandering. You know what I'm saying? When you know, excuse me, especially when these podcasts, when we all get analytics on the stuff that we post, right? We can see what's our most popular post, what's this, that, and the third, who shared it, the age demographic, all that stuff. And I'm pretty sure that most of these guys, when they look at their analytics, look at their statistics, and they see what type of posts get the most traction, they follow that same formula.
Well, see, and here's my problem with that. Like, the way it is, you can look, like, we just watched that video 5-6 times.
Right.
Because it's stupid.
That part,
not because we agreed with it, not because we thought it was a good video.
Right.
It's just because it was stupid. And so just because you get a lot of views don't mean what the fuck you saying has any validity to it. It's just, it might be a bunch of people looking at this shit laughing at your ass.
But that part, and I think that when stuff go viral because it's polarizing, right? People either love it or they hate it. It's no in between. The love or the hate is what makes you share it. This motherfucker stupid. It's like I'm finna share this shit. Look how stupid this motherfucker. He talking this dumb shit, man. Look at it. And you angry sharing it. You know what I'm saying? Trying to prove your point because he done made you emotional inside yourself. And or you agree with it and you agree with it so much. This is exactly what I'm gonna talk about. These niggas ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? And you share it that way. But they don't care if they right or wrong. Right. They got an emotion out of you.
But here's the problem with that though. Like the same way, like you might gain 100, 200 followers because, you know, they agreed with it. But you gotta look at the back end. Like if your statement is so egregious or so not based in reality to where it's like, that's actually hurting like yo.
Man, I think it's target demographic. That's how social media work. He know, like to him, he has a really target demographic. Bitter single women with kids. It's a whole bunch of them, and they tapped in on that, John.
Tapped in,
and the more you can milk it, and guess what? You can branch that out even further. There's a bunch of other things that you can go because you can go now bitter women, and like you can play the Derrick Jackson role. Yeah, I can just tell all these bitter women about how niggas ain't shit, and I'm gonna go viral every time. I don't care what these niggas gonna say, but I know how to pander to the right people, and that's gonna get me up.
And it happened. It worked like clockwork. And then even when somebody like Derrick Jackson gets exposed, right. You know what I'm saying? They still
blow up more.
Yeah, they blow up more. It's a weird space, man. Even like the dude Darius Cooks, the chef. He's so controversial. He be back. I think he's based out of Atlanta, but he's in Charlotte a lot. Okay. But he does some of the messiest, nastiest, controversial stuff online, doxing people, exposing people, address, real phone number, all this other stuff, because they're complaining about the service he provided. But he will expose everything, and then his followers will then begin harassing that person in real life.
He got a beehive.
But because
what's the Nicki Minaj? The bar.
Yeah, the bar. Exactly. But because he's not actively doing it, no charges are ever brought to him. But there's so many people trying to sue him. You know what I'm saying? That's because he put their public information out there, and his fans do nothing but harass them people. Right. And I'm just like, yo, like the controversy sells. Controversy is the driving force of social media.
But you know something that wows me though? Man. Is that people buy so deeply into other people.
Yeah.
Like there's no way I wouldn't give a fuck. Like, I'm not about to harass anybody based on some figurehead. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this person did this to him, and
Right.
I don't care that much for you to be so like drawn into any type of celebrity or like any of that type of stuff. It's like, bro, you got too much free time, dog.
Too much.
You need to put your head somewhere else, dog. There's no way that I'm gonna sit here and just comment on everything that somebody. The Nicki Minaj. He said something about Nicki, and I'm just going, bro. What are we doing?
Man, to them barbs, they the same way. Like when it's like Nicki Minaj say, "Go get him," and like all her legions of fans just go get him. Like, yeah, like some idiots, and y'all really be sitting there tweeting at this one person. You don't even know this person.
Hey, listen, I just want to interject really quickly. I like to say that here on the To Be Fair show, I like to think that we've turned a new leaf. I was once attacked by the barbs.
Oh,
They got
They got it.
They got it.
Hey, but they done ran. Hey, but listen, they done ran us up 15K on the video. Hey, listen, I ain't even mad at you.
You see how that's what we be talking about. So he don't care as controversial. He'll say something else if that mean he'll get another 15,000 views.
I need my woman with a bonnet right here. And I need her like agreeing. You know what I'm talking about? So listen, barbs.
With the lashes.
Right. It's okay. Like we love y'all here at the To Be Fair show. I'm gonna put a little asterisk. We can put an asterisk right there. We still gonna say what the fuck we feel. But when we like it, we like it. You know what I mean?
Like, comment, and subscribe.
There we go. Nah. It was a music reaction. In which I ain't fuck with what she did. But when we liked it, they ran us up though. That other one, it was hella downvotes.
Yeah, it was.
Hey, but y'all watched it. You watched it. It's good enough.
Bro, all bro said was the verse was alright. They was in their feelings.
Oh no, I had said some shit like that one time too.
Yeah.
He was like, it ain't the best verse ever. And they was like, what the fuck do you mean?
If you attack somebody's favorite person online, like you just got to be in for a dog fight.
My thing is, okay, so I got a question. Like,
but niggas is like this
really
also with rap
people.
Exactly. If it's your favorite, let somebody say, man, Jay-Z trash. You finna get an argument, boy. You finna get an argument.
Whoever you think is fine.
YB better.
Yeah.
Take off the best Migo.
Or let's go into the Jordan LeBron debate.
That part too.
It's gonna fire it up.
Come on,
like it be the same kind
and
of thing.
People feel like they have to say the most extreme negative thing about your guy in order to validate the position they're making about their guy.
Bro, I'm not commenting on none of it, bro.
Yeah.
Even if you said cold trash, I'd be like, man.
I'm gonna tell you how I got him riled up one time though. I got into the Jordan debate with some Jordan heads. I be getting them, dog. I told him, I said, man, Jordan had to fly to Vegas and beg a raging cokeheads to get rebounds for him just so he could get a ring. Man, they got mad. Boy, I was arguing about that thing for about 2 days straight. But it was facts, though. Like, he did fly to Vegas and beg Rodman to come get rebounds.
Yeah, Carmen Diaz hiding under the covers.
That's what I mean. That's facts. But because they think Jordan is so great, so untouchable, it's like me saying that was the worst thing in the world.
You lucky Q over there letting that ride.
Oh, what? No, that's what happened. They about to make a film of it with homeboy that was in Creed 3.
Air.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean like they talked about that in what is it? Last Dance.
The Last Dance. Okay.
Yeah, that's where I got it from. Because see, I had forgot about that point because I was young. We were younger at that point too. So when I watched the DVD, I was like, hold on, Jordan had to go beg Rodman to come play, you know what I'm saying? The great Jordan, you know what I'm saying?
Or you could say you snatched him up out the coke infested.
I mean, somebody could look at its perspective, right? It's all how you perceive it. And I got them, boy, they was arguing with me for about 2 days straight on that. I had to turn notifications off.
That's how you know you gotta, when you go to sleep and you wake up. And
I think that the point that you're making is valid in the sense, like, there's very specific emotional triggers you can go with anybody. Mm-hmm. Like, it's certain things, whether it's like a Nicki fan, a Jordan fan, a LeBron fan, a
Jada Pinkett fan.
Jada Pinkett. There you go. Like, it's certain things that you can do that's going to trigger the internet.
I don't know.
Play that game if you want
And
to.
that's what I'm saying. That's the whole point that I'm making. Like, there's nothing that anybody's gonna say on social media that just like digs me so hard to where I have to comment.
Right.
Like, I'm just not that guy. Like, I just don't care so much to prove because I'm not gonna go back and forth with you. At the end of the day, I'm not gonna just be.
I felt it.
And then,
I like to have fun online sometimes.
I felt it.
I'll partake a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like if a little bit.
But once I feel it go into it, I'm like, all right, I'm good, man.
That's when you hit the tap. I call it the tap out.
Yeah.
Or here's how you know when you hit somebody too in the comments. Motherfucker go and click on your page, be like, your pictures ain't even in it.
Oh yeah. That's why your hair. That's why your hairline. Like, word.
Yeah.
Word.
Talking about politics.
That's why your Tim's rolled over. I gotta scroll through the picture to find you. I'm like, oh damn, let me delete that picture.
Nah, it's a fact.
That's from '09, nigga.
Yeah.
it was dark in '09.
But yeah, the internet is a wild place. And to your point, you know, I get to that point, I will tap out. You know, once I feel myself going over that emotional threshold, like I will just tap out. Whereas some people, I feel like they will crash out.
Oh no, they'll crash.
They will crash out over the internet.
But what I will say is that
Not doing it.
in opposition to Jeremy or Rel, if I work a job where I be having like I be needing fodder.
Oh yeah, you got time.
I be needing fodder. So there's sometimes I know I can like trigger some shit on the book.
Right.
And I just throw something out that I know is gonna get me like it's gonna get me through the day. Like it's gonna be
That's
fun.
always been
It's gonna
cute,
get
too. He always been like that, bro. His whole life. He always
it's gonna
been
get me
like
through
that.
the day. Like
Ain't nothing right.
it's a nuance here.
Ain't nothing better than doing it, man. And honestly, I'm a people watcher, right? I love. I can go to a restaurant or a bar by myself and have a ball because I'm just watching people. So in social media, I don't think people realize I get a kick out of that. Like all the personal information people put on social media, you know. I'm like, I love it. Keep it coming. Keep it like I'm on season 3, episode 6 of your life. Like, keep it coming.
I love a good Instagram fight.
That part, I'll be in the comments rolling, bro.
Motherfuckers start posting. I be clicking on the page.
Yes.
What you talking about?
Yes.
My nigga, he's doing private investigation.
Yes. Family arguments, baby mama, cousin, the shot. I'm like, who? I don't know. I'm knee deep in Alabama Facebook. I don't even know none of these people. Making sure I don't like nothing. Just making sure I don't hit the like.
Then you accidentally like some shit.
Yeah. Then you got,
who the fuck is this nigga?
Hurry up and hit it back.
That shit good to happen when you being nosy.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, well, I don't know. I feel like we done hit a couple little spots on that one. But I feel like Ron, you had something you wanted to go out.
Oh,
Ciara maybe?
That was one of the more kind of what was last. Well, it seemed like they have a new trending topic every 3 to 6 months. But the Ciara,
the
Russell Wilson, this whole dress and what's respectful and what's not respectful, and Russell didn't have a problem with it. How do we know Russell didn't have a problem with it?
And you know, honestly, I'm gonna be completely transparent.
Before we start,
I actually commented on a post that was involving that. You know what I mean? That's a rarity for me. It wasn't that it got to me. It was actually the person who we actually know that we know what it. Well, at the end of the day, you see, I said I was gonna be honest about it. I made one comment, and you know, I don't know who done said nothing back about it.
You was in and out.
Yeah, I was in and out, which I ain't got too much for you. I ain't feeling back and forth on the line.
All right, so I like to start this one off with this. Rel, would you allow your lady to? Would you allow your lady to come out? Yeah, would you?
Rel,
would you allow your lady to come out the house with that on? Would you by her side? You protecting? You know what I mean? Whatever the all shit is.
Honestly,
you said absolutely.
She's not my lady if she would even have that dress. Well, now you might have it in the house, but if it was proposed to be going anywhere outside of the thresholds of the door, sound like it's about you ain't trying to be my old lady.
That's how
you
I
for
feel
the streets.
I understand the celebrity aspect of it. She's an entertainer. I get that. I totally do. But their family dynamics, the man that Russell is supposed to be to his career and in his locker room, I know that can't be doing him no favors. being a quarterback in a professional football league.
NFL locker room.
You know what I'm saying? I know that can't be doing
He had
him
a bad
no
season
favors.
last year, too.
And while, yes, men should be able to control their emotions, yes, they should be.
Yeah.
Fact remains is that he is in probably the most male-dominated industry in this country. And then
Most testosterone at that.
most testosterone through the roof. You know what I'm saying?
They
definitely
get
through the
them
roof.
injections.
And I'm like,
Yeah,
and knowing that that's what your husband do.
And it was niggas on that team that probably wanted Ciara.
Come on, bro.
Before he was even.
Why would
good.
why would you even just give that type of ammunition or just put your husband through that type of stress?
And then here's my thing: is you can do what you want to do. I don't care. Like do what you want to. But my thing is the consistency.
Yeah.
They've always been the real Christian and
That part too.
moral, upstanding couple, and then to like hop out there in that dress, it's like that's like a total like contradiction of like everything. I seen a picture like maybe like a couple months ago where they was at the altar, and like Wilson was like he was bent down and they was praying at the altar, and then 2 months later. You ass naked on the red carpet. It's
Yeah,
like
it don't look right. And women want
like,
to.
it just don't make no sense.
And bro, why
was this
why
the
do-
same person?
I just feel like, man, at some point we got to go ahead and this whole "you can do what you want to do" thing. Of course, you have the freedom in the country to do what you want to do, but there's a certain type of and see, I ain't even going to the point
What
to where
are
like,
consequences with everything you do?
bro, but there should be a level of disdain for certain shit in the community. We can't accept everything and just act like anything is okay. Like where is that? What other community is just anything okay?
And
Like what are we doing? Where's the line?
certain balance
When does the man's feelings get recognized or validated? Right? I don't know Russell Wilson. I don't know him. Never been in the same room with him. I know, but that's just speaking from what I do know about men, being a man myself. At what point, if Russell Wilson did have a problem with that dress,
I seen bro eyebrow in the picture.
I still don't believe that Ciara would have changed.
Yeah, she was gonna rock that.
And then you know something too that I was looking at the poster. The only reason what caught me was the fact that like they were talking about. They found some other women that were wearing some similar things
Because it was a theme to the party. It was barely there. The theme was barely there, or sheer something. It was a theme to the party.
Okay.
And so that was the attire.
There was more context to it.
Right, the thing is, they were saying that like it's, well, we only want to get on Ciara because she's black. What about all of the other races of women that have done it? You know, that did it. I'm assuming it's the same. I don't know.
I don't think the problem
And
is.
see, that's what killed me. That's what killed
God
me.
damn it. And this is that Trey shit, bro.
Hey, hold on. Wait a
My
minute.
bad. I'm about to turn up
I
on
don't
your
think the
homeboy.
problem is that she wore it. I think the problem is what she has stood for leading up to wearing it. And
No,
it's like
I
a
ain't know
total-
nothing about what she stand for. I don't know
I'm
nothing
just
about
talking
that
about for
folk.
me, like they've always been. They talk about Christian values
Yeah, I don't
and
know
all
about
that stuff a lot. They've always stood on that like heavy.
Gotcha. Hey, so
And then to turn around, to me, that's just a contradiction. Now, if you was always ass naked, if I met you in the strip club and you want to wear that, I can't really argue with that.
Yeah, that's just her.
But if I met you in the church and then you want to wear this to the red carpet,
no, she did have it. She had a goodies out in 06, my boy. But I do think that y'all are having a little bit separate conversations. Where Rail, it seemed like he was going down the lane of the idea of black accountability and how it's so easy to just make excuses and shit.
Yeah.
Well, why didn't they hold them this other person accountable and shit like that?
Yeah.
And I feel like this was a bit of that conversation that we had online. Maybe we could find a thread and we could post it on here with John Morant. Inside that, maybe it was 2 weeks ago when he did the whole little thing.
Yeah.
And there was disdain for black people holding him accountable.
Right.
In public. And where, to me, like, there's this whole thing of, like, if you actually want to grow the community, there's a certain level of accountability that has to happen.
Facts.
Like, placating that everything is okay and, you know what I mean, we'll talk about this in the meeting. Ain't no fucking meeting. I ain't been to the black folk meeting. Like, we don't have that shit. Like, so, in general, like, if you're justifying negative behavior by saying, oh, you saying this in front of white folk, you the problem also, bro.
Yeah.
How about let's just work on eradicating the negative
problem.
things that are detrimental to our community in general.
Facts.
Like, it don't matter who see it, who don't see it. What if it's bad? It's bad, bro.
But
And that's how I feel about it.
I think perception is
Trade,
reality
yeah.
too, because a lot of stuff that certain sectors of black people think are negative or bad, there are other sectors of black people that don't think that it's bad. So to your point about the black folk meeting, there is no book on how to be black. You know what I'm saying? There is no book on acceptable black standards. You know what I'm saying? If we go back in history, I know like a lot of people don't like to do, but we go back in history, we take a look at slavery and all this stuff where we came from. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Where we came from. So I'm going back before that.
Yeah.
Before slavery, we all came from different tribes, right?
Fact.
There were hunter tribes, there were warrior tribes,
Fact.
there were, you know what I'm saying? Like the tribes were known for various things that they did. But now over here in America, ain't no telling who a part of what tribe or what. You feel me? Like we might have a cat that's a descendant of a warrior tribe, and that's why he loved guns and violence. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to paint a bigger picture. But now we're trying to tell him, you know, now me being a descendant of a hunter tribe saying, no, man, violence isn't the answer. His bloodline, that's all he's done. You know what I'm saying? But we don't know that because a lot of that stuff has been stripped away from us. And when we don't have knowledge of self, we don't know where we come from, we doomed to make the same mistakes. And I think that's a lot of the problems that we have. The young cats, well, how long we've been having the divide between young folk and older folk. The young cats don't want to listen to the OGs. The OGs feel like the young heads don't listen. And no information gets passed down. No lessons get learned. Bro, every generation kind of has to start over.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. And you went to a nice place there, and that was a good defense. And I still don't give a fuck. The whole idea of like the different tribes, that was like, that makes sense. It makes good sense. Right. There's still a level of accountability. If we're going to push our community forward, we're going to have to be accountable for the things we do, regardless of whatever tribe you was from. We're here. Understood. So we're going to have to make the necessary adjustments to pull ourselves up to a place to where we don't. Because I mean, to me, I get what you're saying, and it was you know what I mean. It makes sense. Like I can tell you like that. There is validity in what you're saying. At the end of the day,
and I'm not saying that that's a whole. I was just painting like a higher picture. I agree with you 100%. Like we in 2023. Like we have to, you know what I'm saying. But
at some point you got to write your own book.
So many of us as a whole, so many of us have not been afforded the opportunities to learn how to be better. You know what I'm saying? It's just been a repeat of the same bullshit generation after generation after generation, and that is contributing largely to the same downfalls that we see. Because a lot of stuff that we're discussing and having arguments about now, I was just joking with somebody earlier about the Tales from the Hood movie. Well, you watch Tales from the Hood, a lot of them same tropes still exist today.
Yeah,
that's true.
Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed.
Right.
And it's kind of sad.
And then here's my question too.
And that's what
at what point does it stop becoming them people's fault and start to become our fault?
That's a good question.
That's where I'm at. For sure.
Like at what point?
And that's to me where like the accountability piece does really ring. Is that to me? I done been inside the woke circles. I didn't like that. That was a part of like my life and shit like that, where you get this information, right? And I think that this ends up kind of being like the journey of a lot of black men our age. Is that at first for a little bit you're deaf, dumb, and blind, right?
Right.
And then like you go to school, maybe you went to HBCU. And you start gaining some information and some context to why and what.
Right.
So then with that, when you get that first level of information, you start being like, damn, I can see how all the chips are stacked against us.
Right.
This is why this has happened. These are the antecedents. This is what. And then you start looking at the world through that lens. And you think that, to me, I look at it as like you're inside that world peace is possible phase, right? Where like you think that there's going to be this overhaul of shit and we can change capitalism and we're going to do all this shit, right? And you trying to like really change the world. That's why you see like the college kids, they had the most extreme views and shit like that. They're the most like far left liberals. But as you start getting older, you start seeing the world inside even more context.
Yeah.
And it evolves you into like, all right, now what is practical? How do we actually start doing the steps that's going to lead us to where we're saying? Because of at first we were speaking in hyperbole, and like hyperbole sounds good,
You're right.
but like how do we actually get this shit done? And that shit starts leaning a little bit more center right ish, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you be like, damn, I sound a little bit like this, but the fact of it comes down to is that there does eventually have to be a level of self accountability, and this is I know at least the majority of us all came from what they call like these at risk areas, right?
Yeah.
All the hoods of Charlotte, we represented in here. You know what I'm saying? And there was a certain level of like personal accountability that did come from actually breaking the chains.
Right.
And I like again, I always say I can go back to my neighborhood and I can see the whole diaspora of it.
Yeah.
From like me to like people as smart as me that made the dumb decisions. And like there is a part of the system that is account to that. I don't think that you don't negate that at all.
Right.
There
Both can be
is
true at the
nature
same
and
time.
nurture. But if we actually are saying that we want to change some shit, like the system ain't gonna change.
Nah.
That bit is there for a reason.
Right.
Facts.
It comes on putting us a heavier levy on ourselves.
Right.
I ran it, my bad, y'all ain't.
Yeah, no, and I that's the same thing I was saying. Like and I was talking to Adad about this the other day, and we talk about like the whole idea of it. Is it us needing to be accountability, or is it the system? The thing is both things can be true at the same time. But what are you gonna do?
Big facts.
What actually can you as
that's the biggest thing,
individuals
bro.
do to actually change the placement?
Stop thinking these white folk gonna do it for you.
Bro,
Right.
because I don't know how long. You know what I mean? That's not going. Even let's say they do, we ain't gonna live to see it.
Right.
So
One
what
thing
are we gonna do to actually push the community forward? And then, because the thing is, bro, all of this, the Ciara example or the John Morant example, all of that. So, bro, you know how many kids look up to John Morant right now? How many grade school kids look up to John Morant? I can't really say Ciara, but you know what I mean? I don't know how many young kids like follow Ciara. I don't know, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure that this may be the first time that a lot of young girls have even really know who she is because of what she did. So she's placed herself in this place to be examined, or this should be acceptable as a woman in the black community. And it's like, bro, I don't care what everybody else doing. When are we gonna sit here and be, you know what I mean? When we gonna, bro, like we and I know we do that all the time. We check each other, and I do that with all of my brothers. We make sure that we're as close to the lines as we need to be, and I mean we have a level of morality in certain things that this nigga Quinn ain't worried about him going and beating up no young boy in the backyard or no shit and pulling out no pistol on him.
I might.
Say I might.
I might. Hey, but no, listen, I ain't gonna hold you. I caught pleas for John inside that next.
I remember it.
I had to
Before,
come to-
after, but once he had jumped, when he had gotten too far.
Oh yeah. Well, no.
it was
I
it.
mean, I think that like that whole scenario. Listen, I'm sorry.
You ain't walking.
Matter of fact, Newton, I showed you them 7th graders last night.
We talking about how big it was?
Them motherfuckers going between the legs in the layup line.
like yamming.
Yamming.
Every one of them.
Listen, you get one of them real 17-year-olds
Bro, you
that's
not
playing
walking
ball.
up on me, bro.
That's 6'5",
Not.
like this.
Yeah.
That's talking that talk to you. Hey, bro, you got chill.
Well,
Like,
no,
let's not
I
pretend like we ain't been at the court, like at the park, and
Yeah,
it ain't
boy.
really like you don't know how old Cuz is,
Yeah.
but shit get heated.
It do.
But that's good.
Like,
for
bro, you
old
about to
buddy.
took my knee out, bro.
That's good for old buddy. You need to know, like, you need to
Say
know
it's
the
healthy for
lines,
him.
bro. Everybody need a good ass whooping every now and then. Like,
That's facts. That's
Yeah.
facts.
You gotta
Yeah,
be-
but see, you don't
can't-
need to be the dude whooping his ass with all of this other shit with the laser. You don't need to
Well,
be the
that's a
dude
diff-
whooping
you
his ass.
conflate
with
it.
all
Don't
that-
conflate
all
it
that
all.
together.
All that came after.
No, that was before. It wasn't the laser and all that was before he beat up the young, or he stole off.
I don't know.
the
All I
young boy.
know is all that shit was like a.
Yeah, it was like back.
It was back.
Yeah.
I know. These are summertime things. They just happen to bring them up right now. That's all I'm saying.
But my thing is like, in John's like, you can't like. You gonna let somebody walk up on you talking?
Yeah,
to you,
nah. See,
pulling
young boy would've had-
pulling their pants up, walk up on you.
He would
what
have
you
had to
gonna
hold
do?
it. He would have had to hold it.
Exactly.
And again,
But I wouldn't have got
probably-
the pistol though. I wouldn't have got the pistol part, but he would
No, I
have
get
caught. Caught the left. That left would have came out reflex. That just would
6'5",
have.
210.
It just would have happened out of my.
Young boy
Oh
get in the
shit!
gym.
Did I just? Oh my! Did I just? Hey, my bad. You know what I mean?
Bro, let's not act like we all ain't like bucked up at pops at that moment of maturity where he
It's
kind of
been
had to
there.
like get you there.
Yeah, it's been there.
Yeah, he had to get you there. Yeah,
It's
he had to
been there.
get you there.
It's been there a couple
Oh
times.
damn, that's old man script. All right.
My pops told me to swing. He said,
Don't.
"Oh, you
ever
think
do it.
you think you're a man?" He said, "Go ahead and swing."
That's the biggest mistake of your life.
Johnny Swan.
So much processed in my brain.
Johnny Swan.
I didn't swing.
Nah, he did. That
But
nigga right there.
so
Johnny
much
said he's strong and
processed in my brain in that moment. Like, I could drop this nigga. Nah, no, I can't. I'ma try. Don't do that. Like, all of that went through my brain at the same time. And then ultimately I decided, for life. I chose life.
My nigga Johnny had to bear the strength, didn't he?
End up in the head locker.
Damn, Johnny.
Hey, say Pops looking like the Rock finna come off the ropes on his ass.
Pop ducked it. Johnny woke up in his bed with a Martin knot. Like,
That's that cartoon.
But I think every young dude done tried it at least once, and even with me working with kids over the years, I've been tried by the kids, and it's like, boy, you know what I'm saying? I'm here for the youth program, boy. Let's keep it on that level.
Nah,
Miss Wilson. I think he might need to step out. It'd be like that. I was actually with a youth program yesterday, and the young cat is like a 12-step program from the county before they either go back to prison or get inserted back to society. And they complete that program, they can go back to society. But these like 16, 17, 18-year-olds, one of them got kicked out of the program right there. And I'm sitting there like, damn, bro, like, you at a program that's trying to save you from this stuff, and you still decide, like, because he bucked up at the administrator, and I seen the whole thing happen because the administrator mode went from like jolly overseer to down just dad mode. So come here, he took him in the room. About 2 minutes later, all I heard was, "That's what it is." All right, hey, call him an Uber. He finna go home.
He done.
He done.
He done.
And then I'm sitting there watching the young man, that little about 5-minute time period from coming out the room to when the Uber showed up. You could just see his whole demeanor just started changing because he started realizing, like, I fucked up.
And then he called it home. He finna go home.
Yeah, send him home. Send him home. And then when it was time for him to leave, like, you could just see it, like, he knew he messed up, but that emotional decision you made right there in that moment, now it's a wrap. And
now, before we wrap, I think that's literally one of the biggest lessons I really sit and try and drill into my son, is that it be niggas that off of a 10-second decision, they sitting down for 60, 70, 80.
Yep. Ruin their life.
And again, like, what I most preach to him is just be a good human being. All that cool shit is cool. All that other shit is cool. But at the end of the day, be a really good human being, because you can do something for 10 seconds of trying to be cool that's going to land you inside a really different situation. You're going to eliminate a whole bunch of different options that you got for yourself off of a 10-second decision.
Nah, I mean, it even, and we'll leave it here, but I was going to say, to build on that, as far as not just be a good person, but you got to remove yourself from emotional situations too. You got to take that step back, take that extra breath, count to 10, do whatever you got to do to get yourself, when you feel like you're going to be in them emotional places, to just not make them mistakes. Like you say, it's a lot of good dudes that's locked up, that's down bad off, like you say, 10 dumbass seconds.
Yep.
That accountability. I know you said you want to take it up, but accountability, learning how to take accountability early helps with that.
Facts.
Because when you get older and you find yourself about to make an emotional decision, your practice of taking accountability
you ain't got no basis,
will make you stop from making that emotional decision, because you've learned how to be accountable, and you know that this has a negative, a potential to have a negative effect on your life.
And that's why we ain't got adults that can do it. But no, that was a good show. But before we get to the outro, I want to say, like, comment, subscribe, follow us on the To Be Fair Show on Facebook, follow us at the To Be Fair Show on Instagram and on YouTube, the To Be Fair Show. Check out First Listen Live. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification button in the corner.
Hey, Johnny, I heard that you actually got that OnlyFans pop.
Pendant.
You waiting on approval.
Yeah, I heard.
We got motion, baby.
Lord.
We having the motion.
Oh Lord.
But I am your host, Johnny P.
Oh yeah, real.
It's Q.
Special guest.
Ron Styles.
And we out.
Peace.